Manga-Waido.
I'm Minato Yanase. I started working right after high school. I worked as a salesman for this tech firm. Most of my colleagues were really nice, but...
Yanase, get your numbers up! Get to work!
Yes, sir.
Ugh, you're so useless. That's why I hate people who didn't go to college.
This is my boss, Yuya Okoshi. He graduated from a really good university. That was fine and all, but he always looked down on me for not going to college. I'm doing my best. Honestly, I didn't like him very much. That night when I got home, I got a call from my mom.
You should come visit once in a while. Dad misses you too.
I doubt that.
He doesn't say it, but you know he loves you.
I haven't spoken to my dad in years. He was a doctor, and his father was a doctor too. And my older brother, he was a doctor as well. Growing up, he expected a lot from us. My brother Haruto always got the best grades in class, but me? I wasn't that good at school. Naturally, my brother got all the attention. I was never good at studying. I didn't think I'd be able to get in college, so I decided to get a job after high school. But when I told my dad about this...
You're an embarrassment to the family!
He was very upset, but my mind was made up. This is my life! Leave me alone! Then I left home. I worked at several different companies before ending up here. I liked this place, but I wasn't very good at my job. And honestly, I don't think I was helping anyone. Sometimes I thought about quitting. As for my brother, he was a respected doctor now. Well, this is my life. So my dad or my brother, they've got nothing to do with it. Then one day, on my way to work... Ah! You okay? A woman collapsed right in front of me. She wasn't responding, and she wasn't breathing either. I need some help over here! I started giving her CPR and asked the others around me to call for help. Someone brought me an AED machine. I kept performing CPR on her, but it wasn't working. I've got no choice. Step away, everyone! Give her some room!
She looks pregnant. Are you sure it's safe to use an AED machine?
I know she's pregnant, but I got no other choice! I honestly don't remember what happened after that. All I could think about was keeping her alive. A few minutes later, the paramedics arrived and rushed her to the hospital. After that, I headed to work as always. I was exhausted.
Hey, I saw you at the station.
Huh?
Good job back there.
Apparently, my boss was there too. He saw the whole thing.
That woman. Her dad's the CEO of Manhwa Trading Company.
What?
If she doesn't make it, it's all your fault, you know.
I did what I could. Don't listen to him. I did the right thing. I had nothing to worry about. I prayed that the woman and the baby were okay. The next day, the CEO called me to his office. I got some bad news. The woman I tried to save, she made it, but the baby didn't. I was devastated. Was this my fault? I didn't know what to think anymore. The CEO tried to cheer me up, but I didn't know what to say.
I heard what happened. How are you gonna make this right, huh?
Manhwa Trading Company was one of our biggest clients. This will probably cost the company millions of dollars in damages. A few days later, I went to go see the CEO again. I decided to quit. You did the right thing, though. He tried to talk me out of it, but my mind was made up. I'd been thinking about quitting anyways, so it was time for me to move on. But then, as I turned around and headed towards the door... Hold on. He handed me a piece of paper. It was the name of the hospital the woman was staying at. This is where she's staying at. It's up to you, but maybe you should go see her. Oh, thank you. After leaving the company, I went back to live with my parents for a while. I knew I had to look for a new job, but I just didn't feel like doing anything.
Hey, I heard what happened. You did the right thing.
Mom.
You should go talk to the woman.
Yeah. So I decided to see the woman I tried to save. I was really nervous, but...
Thank you. Thank you so much.
The woman was very happy to see me, and her father thanked me too. Then she started telling me about herself. Her name was Fumio Imakawa. The baby was her ex-boyfriend's. She was thinking about marrying him someday, but she found out he was up to his neck in debt. Then when he heard about the baby, he ran off. But she decided to keep the baby regardless. But then, well, you know the rest. I was speechless.
The doctor said the AED had nothing to do with what happened to the baby. He said you did everything right, so please, don't blame yourself for this. You saved my life, and I'll be forever grateful.
Yeah, same here. Thank you so much, sir.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what to say to them. A few minutes later, I said goodbye and left the room. Then... Minato? Haruto? Long time no see. I knew my brother worked here. That was one of the reasons I didn't want to come here. I heard what happened. You did the right thing. Don't blame yourself for what happened. You gotta move on, okay? You can't live with mom and dad forever. I know that, okay? But it's not easy for someone like me to get a job. I didn't go to college like you, okay? I know I'm an embarrassment to the family. I wish I was smart like you, but I'm not, okay? Hey, listen. Mom told me what you're up to these days. You've been studying all day long, reading the books in my room. What? You're not thinking about becoming a doctor, are you? It's a tough job. It's not for everyone. I know that. But let me just say this. Then, what he said to me there changed my life. 4 years later, Tanaka-san, one more step. You got this. I was now a physical therapist, and furthermore, looking good. Thank you, Dr. Yanase. I was now working at the same hospital as my brother. 4 years ago, he said to me, let me just say this. You don't have to become a doctor to pursue a career in medicine. Huh? Our hospital is understaffed. We need more nurses and physical therapists, especially male therapists. And physical therapists need to connect with the patients emotionally. You were never good at school, but you were always really good with people. I think you'd make a great therapist. If you go to school, you can become a therapist in 3 years. Just saying. But... if you don't have the money, don't worry. I'll lend you some. I'm a doctor after all. Thanks! But I had enough money saved up for school, so I decided to enroll in school to become a physical therapist. It wasn't easy though. I had to study really hard for 3 years straight. But I managed to pass the test on my first try. Then I got a job at the hospital my brother worked at. The job wasn't easy, but it was the most fulfilling job I've ever had. I was still a newbie though. I had a lot to learn. By the time I got home, I was exhausted. But now, I had a life partner.
Hey dear, welcome home.
I was now dating Fumio, the woman I saved a few years ago. She was really supportive of me, and we were actually getting married in a few months. Things were going really well for me. But then, something unexpected happened.
Look who it is. What are the odds, huh?
Oh, hello. I ran into my former boss. He suffered a stroke a few months ago. He made it out alive, but he was now paralyzed from the hip down. And now, I was his physical therapist.
So you're gonna be my therapist, huh? This is gonna take a while. If you want, I can ask the doctor to get me someone else. I'd rather work with a young woman.
That won't be necessary.
What? Are you gonna try and make my injuries worse to get back at me?
I'm busy, okay? Let's get started. Come on. He hadn't changed a bit. He was still a jerk, and I didn't like him to be honest. But I had a job to do, so I decided to put my personal feelings aside. Before you were hospitalized, what was the most difficult thing for you?
Why should I tell you?
Because I want to know more about you. The way you live at home, it's part of therapy. It's my job, so...
Ugh, this is so stupid and so inefficient. Keep this up, and you'll get fired from this place too.
But eventually, he started opening up to me. Then one day, I was at my parents' house. We were having a family dinner. What are you doing? Oh, this? One of my patients asked me something today. The middle-aged guy who had a stroke. He wanted to know if AEDs had any effect on pregnant women or the baby. It's not my field of expertise, but I got curious, so I'm just doing some research. He was reading a bunch of medical books. Wait. The patient you're talking about, was it Okoshi-san? Yeah? Why? Nothing. Why did he want to know about this? I don't get it. Then, a few days later, I went to see Mr. Okoshi in his room. What are you looking at, Okoshi-san? The effects of AED machines on pregnant women?
It wasn't your fault.
Huh?
I said horrible things to you. I've been regretting it ever since.
When I quit my job, his colleagues criticized him for blaming me for what happened to that woman's baby, and he felt really guilty about it too. Then he suffered a stroke, got hospitalized, and ran into me.
Honestly, I thought you'd try and get back at me, and frankly, I think I deserve it. But you didn't do anything to me. You just kept doing your job, trying to help me. You were always liked by everyone. You were always really good with people, and I guess I was just jealous.
Okoshi-san's family was very strict. They made him study day in and day out. As a result, he got good grades and graduated from a good university. But he didn't have many friends. Grades was all he had. Then I came along, and I didn't have many credentials, but I was liked by everyone, and when he saw that, he felt really insecure.
I was a jerk to you because I was jealous of you. And what happened to that woman? I blamed you for no reason. I asked the doctor about this, and he said none of this was your fault. I'm truly sorry.
Then he handed me some papers. It was a note about AED machines and their effect on pregnant women. First, AED machines have a diagnostic feature, meaning that they check the patient's conditions first, and if an electric shock is not necessary, the machine won't work. I actually knew that already, but there was more. Since the AED pad is placed on the woman's chest, most of the electricity gets absorbed by the mother's body before it can even reach the baby. And since the baby's heart is very small, it's very unlikely that the use of AED machines will affect it in any way. It also said there was no report cases of AED machines negatively affecting the well-being of a baby. I thought about doing some research myself when it all happened, but I didn't, because I was scared. What if it was my fault? I knew I wouldn't be able to live with that, but now, thanks to Okoshi-san, I knew for certain that it wasn't my fault. It was such a weight off my shoulders.
The doctor. He's your brother, right?
Yeah.
He was talking about you the other day. He said you had something special. Something you can't buy with money. He said he was kind of jealous of you. Just like me.
What? Really?
Yeah. Again, I'm truly sorry. I'm the reason you ended up quitting. I feel horrible.
Don't say that. It wasn't your fault. And I'm glad I quit, to be honest. This is the best job I've ever had. And this is what I want to do in my life. If I hadn't quit my job then, I wouldn't be here today. So it's fine. Really.
Yanase.
I'm in a really good place right now. So don't worry about me, okay? You just focus on getting better. You got this, Okoshi-san. I know you can do it. He started crying, so I decided to give him some space before continuing. After that, he started working harder than ever. A few months later, he was doing much better. A few months later, my former colleague told me how Okoshi-san was doing. Before he was hospitalized, he was really hard on his subordinates. But now, he was really nice to everyone all of a sudden. He said it was kind of funny. Okoshi-san. I was glad he was doing better. Then, a few months later, Fumio and I got married. It was a beautiful wedding. Everyone was there. My colleagues from the hospital, my former colleagues, including Okoshi-san, even some of my former patients came and congratulated me. It was the best day of my life. Oh, and also... Dad's crying? Dad's always been a hard ass, but he always cared about you, man. Be nice to him, okay? Of course. Anyways, it was a rough couple of years, but glad everything worked out.